Here we are back for another episode of Cyber Conversations at RSA. I'm super excited here to be joined by Josh, who is co-founder and CEO of Aiden. Thank you for joining me here. I'm excited to talk a little bit more about what you guys are up to. But before we dive into Aiden, tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Thank you for having me on the show. Aiden has been announcing a lot of cool features and new things that are coming out with our product over the last 6 months. People may have seen that we announced a new solution called Aiden Rescue to the market back in the end of October, early November. It's gone into preview and we have some customers that are testing it, and now we're getting ready to go full production. It's a feature that allows us to completely recover from ransomware all of our Microsoft Windows endpoints in any enterprise network. Allows you to wipe and rebuild from bare metal and do it remotely anywhere over the public internet, and even initiate the process over Wi-Fi. I had someone test it in an airport the other day, waiting for a flight, completely wiped and rebuilt a machine. And it doesn't just put back a basic copy of Windows and some basic apps, it puts back their entire machine configuration, everything that they had on their computer before, all the software they're supposed to have, and remove any software that shouldn't be on the machine to make sure there's a lower attack surface. But the beauty of the full provisioning technology we have is that it not only builds the machine, it'll take care of any updates that may have happened in the meantime. So they're getting a machine that is better than it was maybe before when it's fully built with Aiden Rescue.
I love the fact that you've called it Aiden Rescue because it's like Aiden's coming to your rescue as well. It's a little bit of fun there, but we'll dive into the products and stuff in a little bit because I think it's really exciting what you brought to the table. But I'd be interested to see what was the inspiration or the foundations behind Aiden, because I think a lot of people, when it comes to creating something, it's because you've recognized there's a gap in the market. It's like, why is this not getting solved? Most of the time you've sat there, surely someone's solving it. You realize they're not, and it's okay, we'll solve the problem. What was the foundations of the business?
I met my co-founder and CTO, Sean Maloney, when we were working together at a private equity firm here in San Francisco, right down the block here. I didn't see Salesforce Tower being here. But yeah, we were working there. And when I first started my position there, I was a CTO. There was a real problem with vulnerability management. We had over 11,388 critical and high vulnerabilities that I was given on a vulnerability security report, right? That was shown to me from an outside auditor. And the person sat down with me and said, I know you have a lot of things we're doing here at the company, but this needs to be focused on, needs to be done right away. And I was introduced to Sean by a friend. We brought him and his technology in, and he solved the problem in less than a month. In 3.5 weeks, the same auditor came in with the report, sat down and said, Josh, I have some good news. Here's a report that has less than 300 total critical and high vulnerabilities. And we could have gone even further and gotten it down to 0, but there were certain applications we were a little afraid to mess with at that time, and deal teams working on things, big deals being closed. The number one reason people don't patch fast enough, don't remove vulnerabilities in their networks, is always fear of breaking something. Yeah. That's like the biggest thing. And so once you have confidence in a solution that it could do that, to be able to bring that to market. So when I saw what Sean's technology could do and how fast it could do it, the light bulb really went off. I was like, wow, this is amazing. And this needs to be brought to every company. In the last week, there's so many cyber incidents and things that are happening. Endpoints are one of the easiest things to exploit. And because of AI and everything that's happening lately, they're even more exploitable than ever before. The AI bots are figuring out how to attack weaknesses on our endpoint infrastructure. It isn't just the core network and all the other layers of cyber defense that are out there. The endpoints are a big weakness for a lot of enterprises. And so that was the inspiration for Aiden. And we've just, over the last 5.5 years, we've just gone and developed more and more technology. This whole thing with Aiden Rescue was because of CrowdStrike.
Yes, yeah.
When CrowdStrike happened, Sean and I were up at 2 o'clock in the morning trying to figure out how do we fix it for customers and people that needed help with it. And he said to me, if we had seen this incident coming, we could have built something that would have taken care of that and completely automated the recovery, gotten around the BitLocker encryption and all this other stuff that had to be done with automations. And now we've done that and we brought it to market. So you take a look at Stryker from last week. They were compromised. They had such a big problem. If they had Aiden in their network before that, absolutely they could have recovered a lot faster.
Yeah.
It's not just about left of boom and protecting things to make sure that we're resilient up front kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's about making sure that after there's an incident, do we have the ability to recover very quickly and get back to productivity and get our users restored?
Yeah.
That's what we're focusing on.
And I think often, like these kind of situations, it's almost that like hindsight is a wonderful thing. And you normally need something like this to be that trigger effect of, okay, we've just acknowledged that. And I think the really interesting thing about what you guys are doing, and often, especially when you look at things like ransomware, is there's a lot of prevention tools and stuff out there, but actually the biggest challenge is, especially in a ransomware attack, it's the recovery element that it's, okay, it's happened. How can we stop it as quick as we can, but how can we get back to business straight away? And how can we build the trust and credibility back as well? Because I think that's probably one of the most detrimental parts. So it makes sense that this is a new product that you're bringing. It sounds exciting. The trajectory here, because you've obviously been doing kind of the testings and stuff. It's now a case that you're about to take this officially live to market, which is a really good time to be doing it post RSA, because obviously this is always the very innovative time of the year, I like to call it. But yeah, what's on the horizon with this? Is this case that is it filling the foundations for like this trajectory? Is it a case that, okay, there's a new project that we're going to go with, and we just anticipate there's going to be a pretty significant demand there? Because I imagine there will be.
We are seeing the demand swell already. In the last week, we closed 3 major law firms, and we closed a POC with a large insurance company. Can't talk about the names of these companies, but it was really nice to see that. And they specifically said to us, we're super interested in this capability that you guys are bringing to market. So, and it's a big part of all of those new business deals that we're in the middle of. We've even had meetings with some major healthcare organizations that said that they're extremely excited about the ability in healthcare. The ability to get your computers back online could be a life and death situation. Over my career, I've unfortunately had the experience of quarterbacking cybersecurity incident response on a lot of things and having to deal with recovering. Everybody always thinks that they've practiced. They go through like tabletop exercises and drills, and then when the thing comes, everybody loses their mind in the beginning is the reality. And it's like, no matter how much you prepare, you can never be prepared enough.
Yeah.
The thing with Aiden, and what I think is really special about it, is they don't need to do anything different when the boom comes, if there's a problem. It's the same technology that Aiden uses to update machines, to build new computers every day in a company. That exact same process is what takes over when there's an incident, and then they just use it to wipe and rebuild the machine from bare metal for Aiden Rescue. So in sports, we used to say, practice like you play.
Yeah.
Don't do something different at the game than you did in practice, right? This is the same concept. With Aiden, if you're using our technology every day to keep your machines up to date, to keep your vulnerabilities low, to keep your network hygiene, cyber hygiene as best as it can be at the endpoint, if there's ever an unfortunate incident, you're going to do the exact same thing you've been doing every day. You're just going to initiate it from the end user side and let them press a button on their keyboard and wipe and rebuild their computer from scratch using the exact same process. Nothing new.
In reality, though, in cyber, just in general, that's actually one of the biggest issues that vendors face when it comes to the adoption of their product or whatever they're implementing, is if it's not seamless or like easy to use from the endpoint. Oh, that was a close
You can
call.
tell we're definitely live at RSA.
But I think one of the things there is the fact that if you've got something that's easily adopted, people also build that trust with it a little bit more. They can start relying on it. They just know that it's there in the background, but it's not an inconvenience to use either. It's not this, I've really got to go out of my way to, because then people don't want to adopt it. They do the shortcuts, and then that stops it obviously being as valuable as a product.
Richard A. Clark, who was actually in the news again just the other day because of the Robert Mueller passing away, and they had several meetings and conversations. He's on our advisory board, and he said about Aiden a long time ago, and I'll never forget it, I love you guys because what you're doing, it's not just a cybersecurity defense layer. We've got a lot of those solutions, right? There's a big cybersecurity layer cake, but you're actually giving your customers a meaningful operational improvement right away, an ROI right away. So you're delivering operational improvements and resiliency and all of that, and you're providing a layer that might be needed when you have something like an incident.
It sounds like some really exciting times and everything going on. So obviously you've got this product launch and stuff. What's on the horizon for the future this time next year? And I think this is always a really exciting time at RSA because there's so much innovation, creativity happening. Everybody's doing exciting things. But yeah, what's the next 12, 18, 24 months got in store?
For sure, we're going to get Aiden Rescue rolled out to all of our customers. One of the things we saw the other day was a statistic that 82% of the time when people recover from ransomware, they're reinfected because they actually put back the old exploitable software on their computers. So we're really excited about getting that out there. And then right behind that, we have a bunch of other innovations coming. For one thing, we want to bring Aiden technology to the Mac. So we are absolutely focused on getting that done this year. We've been doing great with Microsoft Windows enterprises and helping companies migrate to Microsoft Modern Management. But we're going to try to do this for every kind of endpoint for computer users. And so we are now starting really in earnest on bringing Aiden to the Mac. And I think there's a tremendous amount of entropy behind this concept of automating endpoint management and vulnerability management. there's just so much work that can be improved in the reporting, the vulnerability management aspects of it for things like compliance and regulatory organization, like SOC 2 compliance, basic stuff, compliance with CMMC 2.0 and other regulatory frameworks. So we're starting to really build out our vulnerability dashboards, our compliance dashboards, compliance reporting, so that our customers can not just get it right using our technology, but then they can have the evidence and immediately show that they've been getting it right and reduce the amount of friction that's involved in due diligence processes, compliance processes, getting their organizations to be able to do the business they want to do quicker with less humans having to do a lot of that work and more automation.
Yeah, which I think is going to sound like music to many people's ears, let's be honest. Thank you so much for joining me here in the chaos that has been RSA outdoors. But this is what
we love it.
It's been a pleasure. It's so many exciting things on the horizon. We'll definitely have to do a follow-up and see how the launch goes. But to everybody that's been tuning in, thank you for spending your time and obviously hearing a little bit more about Aiden. Make sure to continue along for more conversations that are shaping cyber, and of course get connected with the team over at Aiden and find out a little bit more, because as you can tell, very exciting things going on. But that's it for this time, so thank you so much.